Alright, more Protagonist monster remakes in Limit Over Collection, the hero side. Basically remakes of the old classic monsters they have, so let's begin. So we start off with Atem or Yugi with Multiply Kuribo, which is definitely a reference to Kuribo with the magic of Multiply. Even the artwork kinda shows it. But anyway, just like the original Kuribo, it's a level 1 Dark Fiend with 300 attack, 200 defense, and the first effect is hard once per turn. So the effect is that when your opponent declares an attack, or when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. Which in turn with the second effect, where once per turn, if your opponent's monster attack during damage calculation, or when your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, quick effect, you can add to hand or special summon one Dark Magician or one monster with 300 attack with 200 defense from your deck or graveyard, then change that monster's attack to 0. Basically, it's a Kuribo that once again protects you, but this time linked to Dark Magician or any other Kuribos practically. And because it says Dark Magician in text, that means that you could play this in Dark Magician. But once again, it's a Kuribo furball that actually just protects you, even though it doesn't really negate anything. But I really do love the part where it could change your opponent's attack to 0. And then we go to Wing Kuribo Sabatiel level 10, which I'm pretty surprised that they chose Wing Kuribo level 10 over the base form Wing Kuribo, and based on its artwork, it's basically Wing Kuribo inheriting Sabatiel, which was a powerful spell in the anime, and in a way, Wing Kuribo did help Jaden activate the spell. But Wing Kuribo never inherited the spell, so it's kind of funny that we get to see this. But anyway, just like the original Wing Kuribo level 10, it's level 10 Light Fairy with 300 attack, 200 defense, and each effect is hard once per turn. The first one being you can reveal this card from your hand and pay half your life points to add one polymerization or fusion spell from your deck to your hand. If you do, shuffle this card into the deck, but you're only restricted to summoning heroes from the extra deck for the rest of the turn. This is basically the reference of Sabatiel's actual effect, where you could actually make a wish of what type of card you want to your hand by paying half your life points, and Jaden mainly add fusion cards, hence why it's only polymerization or fusion spells. In which the second effect is that during your opponent's turn, if you have 1,000 or less life, quick effect, you can special summon this card from hand, then you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the highest attack of your opponent's monsters they control. Which kind of references Wing Kuribo's nuke effect, because Wing Kuribo level 10 had the ability to sacrifice itself to blow up your opponent's board and inflict your opponent damage equal to the destroyed monster's attack. And also in a way combining Flute of Summoning Kuribo, because Kuribo special summon to protect the player. So overall nice cool reference for Kuribo, especially since this is playable in the hero deck and it has hero in text if that actually even matters. And also it is a light fairy, so that also kind of matters in a way with the hero deck depending on how you play it. And then we go to Star Junk Synchron, which is a level 3 Dark Warrior tuner with 1300 attack, 500 defense, and based on its name, I believe this is a reference of Yusei using Junk Synchron for Stardust Dragon. But anyway, to its main effects, the first one being, when this card is used for a Synchro Summon, it could be substituted as any Synchron tuner, which is actually very huge because it's kind of like Quick Draw Synchron in a way, where you could use it as any Synchron tuner for your Synchron Warriors. In which the next effects are both hard once per turn, the first one being, if this card's in your hand, you can special summon one level 2 or lower monster from the graveyard, then special summon this card, and if you do, special summon that monster with its effects negated. And if you're going to do extra deck plays, it has to be synchro monsters for the rest of the turn. This is definitely base Junk Synchron, except that it doesn't need to be normal summon, although this card has to be from hand to special summon itself to special summon the other level 2, but anyway, it's just more options for you to special summon and make more plays. With the second effect being an extra bonus effect, because you can banish this card from a graveyard, and Junk Warrior monsters you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects this turn. Kinda wish that this says Synchro Warriors or Stardust, because it would be nice if it could protect all of Yusei's deck, but oh well, it's a pretty good remake of the original Junk Synchron. Especially for the fact that this card cannot be normal summon for its main effect, but instead special summon, which just adds more options even better. And then we go to Ga Magician, Ga Magic, which is of course the reference of its attack name, which is a level 4 Dark Spellcaster with 1500 attack, 1000 defense, and its effect is hard once per turn. If this card's in your hand, you can special summon it itself along with one of your other Automatopoeia monsters, and I'm not going to say each one of them. And if you do, after this effect resolves, you can Exceed summon one of your Automatopoeia Exceed monsters, a Doujin, Heroic Champion, Numbers, or ZWZS, using itself along with the other monster. And if you do, you can treat the level of one of your materials as one of the other level's monsters. Basically, you special summon it along with another monster from your hand, and then both of them can be treated as the same level for an Exceed summon. So if the other one's level 3, you can treat this as a level 3, or vice versa, with this as a level 4 and the other one being treated as a level 4. Although level 4 is almost a must, the other level just really depends on you. But it is a nice new addition for the Automatopoeia deck with Utopia and Zexo weapons, since technically they're all in the same archetype, with a pseudo level manipulation as a reference to the original. And then we go to Yuya's to Hero Scope Sorcerer, the Stargazer Magician. or Hero Scope Magician, depending on what's the translation. And it's a level 5 Dark Spellcaster Pendulum with 1200 attack, 2400 defense, Pendulum Scale 1, just like the original. And since we got a remake of Stargazer, I am hoping for a remake of Time Gazer as well. But anyway, its pendulum effect is that it's a hard once per turn. When your opponent activates a spell or effect resolves, if you have a Magician Pendulum monster or an Odd Eyes monster, you can negate that effect, then destroy this card, which is a pretty nice effect, especially with a Pendulum Scale 1. With its monster effects being all hard once per turn, the first one being that you can discard one other Magician Pendulum monster, perform a power or Odd Eyes to special summon this card from hand, which will link the second effect because if this card special summon, you can add one Pendulum monster with 2500 attack from your deck to your hand, which for Pendulum Magicians there's actually a decent amount because you got Odd Eyes along with some of its magicians. And then to the third effect, you can target one Pendulum monster you control, destroy it, then you can add one face-up Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. Basically overall it's a setup card. It can special summon itself, add another boss monster from your deck to your hand, and also in a way recycle as well because you could destroy itself as well. And in a way it sets up for your Link summon just so you could have more arrows for your Pendulum summon as well. So overall a pretty good remake, especially with its name being mostly its title, I believe. And then finally we got Cyber's Code Magician. The code part probably referencing Yusaku's code hacking or even code talkers, but I can't really get that reference right there. But anyway, it's a level 7 Dark Cyber's ritual with 2500 attack, 2000 defense, and you use Psynet rituals to summon this card. And each effect is hard once per turn, so if a Link monster you control will be used for a Link material for a Cyber's monster, you can also use this card from your hand as a material, which is definitely very huge because that is one less monster to summon, and because it's from a hand, it's less likely to get interrupted. But the second effect is also kind of linked to the first effect because if this card is sent from the hand to the graveyard or from the field to the graveyard, you can activate this effect. You cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except for Cybers, but you send one Cybers monster from your deck to the graveyard, or if this card was ritual summon, you can special summon the monster instead. So extra bonus if you actually ritual summon this card, but in more cases it's just another Link material that is another ritual monster, mind you, meaning that you're setting up the graveyard for your firewall boss monsters, but also sending another resource to the graveyard, which is always very huge. I just kind of don't like the change of one of the side boss monsters into a more support role, because in a way it feels like it lost its identity from being a big boss monster into just a more support type. But for the Cyberse with the Firewall Dragon deck, it's actually pretty good because it's a ritual monster that just sends itself to the graveyard for more resources. And so that's it for this wave of reveals of Limited Over Collection The Heroes for the Protagonist's classic cards. What do you guys think of them? Honestly, more remakes of classic cards for Protags I was not expecting, although changing certain monsters from boss monster status to more support status is just kind of weird to me. And also, since our first two protagonists had Karibos, I was kind of expecting pretty much all the protagonists to have Karibos, although Yusei and Yuya never really had a Karibo. I was kind of expecting the rest of them to be Karibos in some sort, because I think that would be more fitting as a support type card, as Karibo is always meant for support. But still overall cool stuff, and hopefully they do the same for the rivals. But on that, that's it for this, and see y'all next time.